A battle is shaping up between Trump's White House and one of the world's largest manufacturers of protective medical gear and Canada's supply of surgical masks, a mission-critical tool, those N95s, in the fight against COVID-19 is hanging in the balance. Minnesota-based 3M says the Trump administration is trying to prevent 3M from exporting its N95 respirators, the high-grade face masks that are in demand, high demand, and dwindling supply around the world as health professionals and now members of the North American public try to defend themselves against the coronavirus. The company, 3M, which calls itself a critical supplier of the masks around the world, says there would be, quote, significant humanitarian implications, end quote, to acceding to the U.S. demand to limit exports to Canada and Latin America. Now, before I go on, this is where a total lack of any kind of leadership from this fucking Trump, the total breakdown of rationality, common sense, calm down, Mike, is being put in evidence once again. You would think that 3M, being a major producer of these masks, could meet as much demand as they could in the United States, and other countries, other people are suffering and need these, the medical professionals. And if there is a shortage from the amount that 3M can produce, then why didn't Trump back in January, when he's golfing and doing his fucking 3-minute hate rallies, why didn't he order the production of more masks? And now he has this creepy little fucker son-in-law of his, Jared Kushner, out there talking just like his father-in-law, that he, Jared, knows more than the governors and senators in these states who say we desperately need equipment. We need face masks and gowns and gloves. Back to the Canadian article. In a statement today, 3M said this: in addition, ceasing all export of respirators produced in the U.S. would likely cause other countries to retaliate and do the same, as some have already done, end quote. And then they added this, quote, if that were to occur, the net numbers of respirators being made available to the United States would actually decrease. That is the opposite of what we and the administration, on behalf of the American people, both seek, end quote. I would disagree with 3M's statement here. Trump doesn't give a fuck. And these clowns and jackasses and blind people and rats who are in his inner circle, including a little fucker Mike Pence, they don't care either. Justin Trudeau kept his diplomatic cool Friday, barraged with questions about Canada's critical supply of these. As he's done from the outset of the outbreak, Trudeau insisted that ongoing talks with the U.S. to maintain the two-way flow of goods and services between the two countries over a border now closed to non-essential travel, that would continue. Trudeau said, quote, we are receiving essential supplies from the U.S., but the U.S. also receives essential supplies and products, and indeed healthcare professionals, from Canada every single day. He goes on, these are things that Americans rely on, and it would be a mistake to create blockages or reduce the amount of back and forth trade of essential goods and services, including medical goods, across our border. That is the point we are making very clearly to the Trump administration right now, end quote. I guess that's Trudeau's way. All these world leaders who have to deal with this ignorant fuckhead Donald Trump, you know, they have to show him pictures and stick figures and cartoon drawings and talk very slowly and don't use polysyllabic words. Keep it very simple, very second grade level. So this orange fucker will understand. "3M was singled out for criticism yesterday by Trump, who has invoked the U.S. Defense Production Act to compel 3M to prioritize orders from FEMA for masks to help meet soaring American demand. Right? Right. Trump tweeted this: "We hit 3M hard today after seeing what they're doing with their masks." P-Act all the way. I guess that's his shorthand for the emergency management, federal for his Defense Production Act. P-Act all the way. Big surprise to me in government as to what they were doing. We'll have a big price to pay. Threatening 3M. And I wonder if these corporations who were content during the 2016 campaign to remain silent, knowing that Trump is a liar, a fraud, a cheat, a fucking maniac, a deceiver, and corporate America, they were just, shh, he's going to give us big tax breaks. Shh, everybody be quiet. And now it's 3M's turn. It was General Motors, now it's 3M's turn. 3M will have a big price to pay, Trump says. Anyway, back to this piece in the Canadian press. Demand for so-called personal protective equipment, PPEs, has been soaring around the world as overtaxed doctors, nurses, and hospitals struggle to manage the spike in COVID-19 cases while protecting themselves from infection. And now that the CDC and others in the health community have started recommending everyone wear some sort of face covering while out in public, the scarcity of these medical-grade masks is sure to get even worse. The White House trade advisor, Peter Navarro, said yesterday, quote, "Over the last several days, we had some issues making sure that all the production that 3M does around the world, enough of it is coming back here to the right places. So what's going to happen? The signing of that order in Trump time is we're going to resolve that issue with 3M probably tomorrow, close to business, because we can't afford to lose days or hours, even minutes in this crisis." Well, Peter, where the fuck were you, and where were the rest of these Trump rats when this began? Let me tell you, Peter, the Trump chief rat was out holding his 3-minute hate rallies or golfing. 3M issued a statement that said it has already, quote, "gone above and beyond," end quote, to maximize production of the masks for the U.S. market, and was doing so long before Trump invoked the Defense Production Act. In a statement, 3M said, quote, "We appreciate the authorities in the Defense Production Act that provides a framework for us to expand even further the work we are doing in response to the global pandemic crisis. We will continue to maximize the amount of respirators we can produce on behalf of U.S. healthcare workers, as we have every single day since this crisis began," end quote. See, Trump attacks absolutely the wrong people. The people who are trying to help. This filthy fucker attacks. What he should be doing is just do a 180 Trump and attack everybody except Fauci and probably Dr. What's her name? Burks. Everybody else, all these phony fuckers that line up behind you like mannequins, all the people, starting with that little Nazi Jew, Stephen Miller, and your son-in-law, and all these other fuckers that you have put in acting positions, those are the people you should be attacking. But you won't, because they continue to kiss your ass and tell you, oh, what a wonderful leader you are. Oh, with the president's permission and encouragement and decision-making, because he's so fucking bright, oh, we're doing this, that, and the other thing. I hope there's going to be a day of reckoning. If we lived in a just society, which we do not and probably never will, but if we did, when Trump is removed from office, I think the son of a bitch should be put on trial for involuntary or voluntary manslaughter and womanslaughter and child slaughter. Of course, he should be in the dock with George W. Bush and a bunch of these fuckers, right? Both Trudeau and Canadian Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland acknowledged 3M's message as a sign they would not be cutting off export markets anytime soon. 3M is more or less saying to Trump, go fuck yourself. Trudeau said, quote, 3M has indicated that it understands how important it is to continue with delivering on orders to places like Canada because there's so much trade that goes back and forth in essential services, and it could end up hurting Americans as much as it hurts anybody else. You see, that's something that maybe a seventh grader would understand. In times of crisis, and even in times that are not crisis, the idea is we either cooperate, we either hang together, as Ben Franklin, somebody said, or we all hang separately. Trump doesn't understand that. Trump has no fucking idea about cooperation or about working with people or about empathy or compassion or understanding. He is a filthy son of a bitch who never should have been allowed to take the presidency to begin with. What was it he said on his inauguration day? American carnage ends here, ends now. You fucking idiot. You're the one that brought American carnage to a head. This is just, for me, the horror novel to be written is not about COVID-19. It's about Trump and these filthy rats surrounding him who are doing this to this country. And now that fucking Jared Kushner, that scarecrow fucking ectoplasmic freak, he's in charge? The way he was in charge of Israeli-Palestinian peace, and he's in charge of global warming, and he's not in charge of a fucking thing except figuring out how to continue to fuck the American public and glom in the money with his bitch of a wife. Calm down, Mike.
Hi, Truth Seekers. Kathy Malloy here. During this global crisis, take care of yourselves and your family. Maybe catch up on your Malloy cast. We are 100% Truth Seeker supported, as you know, and over the last year, we've become a lean, mean, two-person broadcasting machine. We've tightened our belts so Mike can keep screaming into the night because we are committed to this fight. We won't surrender the airwaves or our country to the flying monkey fascists as long as you're joining us around the campfire. And by that, I mean supporting this program by funding Resistance Radio on Patreon. Any amount helps keep it lit and keep the lights on in the Malloy home studio. Patron supporters will have exclusive access to a special patron-only weekly broadcast, which will likely include me and possibly Molly. We also have some nice thank you gifts like an exclusive patron Truth Seeker t-shirt. Visit MikeMalloy.com and click on the big patron link on the main page. You can't miss it, and we can't do it without you.